So we're on our way now from Malin, and Johan is over on Star and going to weigh anchor together with Matthias by hand, since their windlass is broken, unfortunately. So they're on it now. I think they have 40 meters of chain out, so it's quite a lot to pull up. And Johanna is at the wheel, steering, going forward. So today we're sailing to Saint Pierre instead of yesterday. It was a fun night over at Thomas' boat. And now we're heading to our last anchorage in Martinique before we leave the island. Last week we enjoyed the carnival in Martinique. We sailed across the Sound from Fort de France and went underwater exploring. We've been in the Caribbean for almost a month now, and we're loving it. 27 degrees in the air as well as in the water.
Pretty good. It wasn't that hard really, but they didn't have a lot of chain out, so it was okay.
We have a bit lighter winds today, which is nice. We're sailing now on a beam reach to a broad reach in 17 to maybe 22 knots of wind. So the wind is slightly more from the east today. And we have about, 13 or 14 maybe nautical miles to Saint Pierre.
Small squall passing by. The wind is really going up and down in speed here, and also direction is changing a lot. But the boat is behaving really well in these conditions. It's so forgiving if you have too much sail up, because it tracks so well. It just heels over a bit and accelerates. A while back here we did 9.5 knots. That's a pretty nice speed with reefed sails, but the water is really flat, so good sailing even if it's gusty. Star is over there, and as you all know, when there's two sailboats it's always a competition. At least unofficially. Yeah, because of the rain the wind just died now. It's down to 10 knots. We're doing 5 to 5.5 knots over ground right now. It will be back in a few minutes. Now the wind is picking up again. 16 knots. Boat speed is going up. 7 knots. On a beam reach. We have a reefed main.
It can be tricky to find a spot when arriving to an anchorage late in the day, especially in a place like Saint Pierre. since it's the last anchorage before the next island.
It's a pretty tight anchorage here. Narrow and long. The water gets really deep just outside here. We dropped the anchor at 9 meters, but the boat is currently at almost 17 meters. So it gets deep pretty fast. And at night the wind a lot of times dies down totally here and the boat starts drifting. So I think we're in a good position, but sometimes it's hard to tell here. The sun is just about to set, and I think we'll stay on the boat tonight.
The next day we did a little provisioning from the local market. We got some fruit and vegetables and some fresh dorado for lunch. Saint Pierre used to be the capital in Martinique, but in 1902 the volcano Mount Pelée erupted, and the pyroclastic flow that rushed down the volcano destroyed the whole city and killed almost all its inhabitants in just 2 minutes. There are a few ruins left, like the city theater and the prison.
Många hade dött, men två klarade sig.
Mm. Och vad var han som klarade sig här i fängelset? Var satt han?
Han satt här.
Ska vi visa? Där, ja. What do you say, Mattias?
Well,
About sitting in there.
I'm happy I'm not from the older age. We seem to be like not so good standards like in our part of the world, but he was lucky, this guy that was sitting in this prison after all. It spared his life, so you can say he was in a good position.
He was kind of lucky,
Yeah.
even though he was unlucky to end up in there
Yeah.
at the first place. Not a bad ending of the day. Watching the sunset and eating an ice cream.
We left Saint Pierre about 2 hours ago, and now we're out in the channel between Martinique and Dominica, which is about 50 nautical miles away now. Been having a couple of squalls with gusts up to 30 knots and rain. The reason we're sailing now at night is because at daytime the wind is even stronger. Even if we left at night, the wind is very gusty. It goes between 18 and 30 knots. The waves are around 2.5 meters, significant wave height. So some of the waves are quite a bit bigger than that, but it's still pretty okay. But tomorrow the wave height out here in the channel is going to be a bit over 3 meters. So is better than that. The plan is to sail straight to Les Sands, which is 74 nautical miles from Saint Pierre. And then we'll go, when we sail south again, we'll make a stop in Dominica. Malin and Vera are trying to sleep down below. Not very easy in this sea condition, going against the wind. We have an open, we're reaching right now. We're having, right now we have between 50 and 60 degrees apparent. But it's pretty okay. We're doing good speed. We're doing a bit over 7 knots pretty consistently.
What time is it? It's almost 3 a.m. We're sailing in the lee of the island Dominica right now. We have about 28 nautical miles till we reach the northern tip, and we will be out on open ocean again. And it's pretty nice to be in the lee of the island. It's so much more pleasant sailing. It was quite bumpy between Martinique and Dominica. And I've been on watch now for a little while. Dominica was one of our favorite islands when we were here 5 years ago. And we will stop by here and explore when we go back south again.
It's 5:30 in the morning. We have 15 nautical miles to go, and we just entered the channel between Dominica and Les Sands. And the waves are starting to build again, and also the wind. So we're doing good speed now again, close to 8 knots at the moment. And the wind is between 23 and 26 knots through. I'm really looking forward to Les Sands. It's a beautiful place.
Back in Les Sands. The actual name of this island is Terre de Haute. I think there are 3 islands in total, and they are called Les Sands. This is the most common one that you go to. It has the biggest bay and I think best protection. We're staying on the mooring ball. Yeah, it was a quite tiresome sail over here. When it's that like overnight, and you kind of stay awake all the time. So, but we're happy to be here, and now we're gonna go out on a little hike / walk up to Fort Napoleon up here on the hill. Well, I think the view will be quite nice from there. So I try to get going now before it gets too hot.
flag up there is the goal for the day. A lot of rain showers today. Goes maybe 5-10 minutes and then there's another shower. But that's actually pretty nice on a hot walk like this.
The view got prettier the higher up we came. And soon we came over to the windward side. The fourth moat was the hangout area for goats now.
Oj! Kom ut den svarta vågen.
Pretty cool museum. A lot of history about the Napoleonic Wars and yeah, all the battles between Britain and France, and a lot of history of the whole Caribbean island chain, really.
What a view!
Yeah, it's beautiful here.
So beautiful, yeah. Really pretty. It's nice to see the boats from here as well. Close to where we have the boat, there is a wreck on the bottom. It's the passenger ship Lindy, and we paddle over there to check it out. The boat sank during a tropical storm and sits at around 15 meters. We didn't spend much time in the water before a big squall came in, with lots of rain and wind. The kids didn't like it and it got a little miserable. It was time to head back to the boats. Thank you for watching. If you would like to connect with us and get all the latest news first, you can join our Patreon crew. See you next week.